and welcome back to Opal and Mint. I am Ashley and today's video is because of comments on the last video. I had several people wanting to know more about Oxgall. If you are new to watercolor, you may not have heard this term and what it is. So we're going to talk a little bit about Oxgall. Now I've heard about it and I know a little bit, but I decided to do some research on it, familiarize myself with it, so I can share a little bit with you, and we're gonna play around with it. And I've only used it in that last video that once, but we're going to experiment and play and see what all Oxgall can do. First of all, what is Oxgall? Well, it's kind of gross actually what it is. It is, we're gonna say it's an animal byproduct. Mostly comes from cows. And it's kind of gross if you think about what it is. There is one company that does make a synthetic vegan version of Oxgall, and that is Core. If you know anything about Core watercolors, they are made by Golden, and they are some of the most, what is the word I'm looking for? Active, spreadable, most traveling. They're probably the watercolor brand that travels the most and spreads out the most while you are painting. So I am going to use some Core paints in this as well, so you can kind of see what paint looks like when it has Oxgall mixed in. There are other brands that do have some Oxgall mixed in as well, but we are going to play around with Oxgall and different brands of paints, see what it does, and see what method works best for me. So that's what we're doing today. So Oxgall comes in a couple of different, actually 3 different that I know of, varieties. So one that you see most common is actually a bottle of liquid Oxgall. And the way you use that is you drop a few drops of that into your paint water, and that will help make the paint spread. The one I have from Schmincke is a hardened pan of Oxgall. So just like a pan of watercolor, it's a pan of Oxgall. That used a little bit differently. And then there's also a tube of Oxgall, kind of like a tube of watercolor paint. So obviously I have the pan, so that's what we're going to be using today. But just so you know, there are different types of Oxgall and it can be used in different ways. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to turn the camera around. I'm going to explain a little bit more about it and why it does what it does. And we're just going to kind of play with some color today. All right, so here's the Schmincke Oxgall. It is a surfactant, and its purpose is, it's called a wetting agent, but a surfactant is also known as a surface active agent. It's a substance that reduces surface tension of a liquid. Basically, it reduces the surface tension of the water on the paper and makes the pigment spread further in the water. That's basically what it is. So let's talk about using it. Like I said, if you have a liquid form of this, you would just put a few drops of it into your water. You would wet the surface of your paper with that water, and the paint you put on top of it will spread further and have nice smooth blends. It's also called a wetting agent. Supposedly it also keeps your paints wet longer on the paper. I don't know how drastic of a difference what is the word? I can't talk right now. I'm very sorry. I'm trying, but my brain is just not working. Okay, so I have a number of different paints. I want to try some non-granulating and some granulating. One thing that I personally find intriguing is using Oxgall with granulating paints, because I think that it's going to cause even more texture and granulation, because again, it breaks the surface tension of the water and it will make them move more. So we're going to try a few things. First of all, with this type of Oxgall, I'm going to get my brush wet and get a little bit of it and just stick it in a dish. So again, that's about all I need for this. Okay, rinsing my brush out. Now keep in mind, I am rinsing my brush in this water, so I'm getting a little bit in this water. So I would probably have to replace this water every once in a while so I don't have too much Oxgall. But I am going to put a little bit of water on the paper. This is clean water. And then I want to start with a color that is not granulating. So I'm going to start with New Gamboge. I'm going to mix it in with the Oxgall, and we're going to touch it to this water and see what happens. There it is. You see it exploding from the hair. I picked a light color. I should have gone a little bit darker probably so you could see what's happening, but it's gonna give us smoother blends out from that color. So let me get another color, a little bit more Oxgall. And I don't want to put any of the Oxgall into my pans of paint. Just don't want to contaminate them with that. So I'm making sure to rinse off my brush. And again, this is only my second time to use this. So I am by no means an expert with this, but let's take transparent red oxide and mix it in with this. And so one thing I've noticed is I'm going to get a lot lighter amounts of pigment. One, it's being diluted by the Oxgall a little bit, but two, it spreads that pigment further. So instead of having intense pigment in one spot, like, let's see, what did I just use? Here, let's get another swatch here. So this is the water. Probably should use from this other cup, but we'll see if this works. All right, I'm gonna take the transparent red oxide. Oh yeah, see, it's still moving. Look at that movement. But it is a little bit more pigmented here. Let me use this water over here. See if that makes a difference. Transparent red oxide does move a little bit anyways, so maybe that wasn't the best color to try, but oh, look at that, it's beautiful. Daniel Smith paints are just gorgeous. So on this side, I have the non-Oxgall, and then I'm going to use the same color, get a little bit of Oxgall here, a little bit of New Gamboge, and let's just see if there's any difference if I do the same kind of line. So pretty. It did seem to move further, but again, I'm just kind of experimenting around with this to see what all it can do. Let's take a granulating color next. Which one do I want to use? All right, I'm going to take a little bit of Serpentine Genuine. This water right here is the water that did not have Oxgall, but I used the cup water, so it might have some in it because that is spreading a lot more than I'm used to. That color spreading. Look at that spread. That's definitely from the Oxgall. I'm sorry. I'm so like watching this so much that I wasn't looking to see where I was on camera. Okay, so, and it might be that after you've done this a little bit, you don't need to mix it in there anymore because it's kind of, whoops, in your water in the cup. So let's try just using the cup water. Let's see what happens with a granulating color. Like, let's take, no, we're gonna take King's Royal Blue. Yeah, see that there's definitely some Oxgall at play there because that went, whew. Look at that movement. Yeah, you can see it like kind of spider out. That's really, really cool. Okay. I want to show you a core paint. Let's take the purple here. So this has a synthetic Oxgall in the paint. So let's, oh, I think that was the granulating one. Hold on. This purple one down here moves a lot, so I want to use that, but say that, and then it's not moving. Oh, look at that spider though. But another cool thing about this is you can get really, really nice blends and transitions when using this. So when would I use this? Well, I might use it to make my granulating colors granulate more. let's put some more serpentine in here. I might use it to try and see if I'm wanting to do a lot of wet on wet to see if it does keep the paper wet longer. This is an inexpensive paper, but it's a fairly good one. This is from Fias. I get it from Amazon. Look at that movement. Look at that. That's beautiful. And this is staying wet pretty long. Let's get a little Opal&Mint here. Okay, so let me wipe this out. Get a little bit of the Oxgall. I have discovered though, if you use too much, you end up not getting the effect that you want. So it is a balancing act of getting the right amount. Something that you just got to play with, I think. So whoa. Did you see that? That's the core paint and that's what that paint does. Okay, and here is this one. This is Opal&Mint with Oxgall mixed in. Do you see it moving? Opal&Mint doesn't normally move quite like that. Put a little bit more. But Opal&Mint is also a granulating color, so I want to see how it kind of settles down. Oh, these are so pretty. Okay, let's see. What else do I want to do? I feel like I want to actually paint something other than just... Oh, wow. Okay, so this other one that it's still wet, first of all. Still quite wet. But look at how much the granulation has moved and settled. The Serpentine Genuine granulation, and I think this was transparent red oxide. That's cool. Oh, this is fun. Okay, I want to paint a flower while we let this settle and do its thing because the granulation is happening over there too. So let's move this to the side. And I'm going to get some fresh water to kind of reset the Oxgall situation here. And we'll paint a flower that I want to do wet on wet and stuff. So hold on. All right, so what kind of flower should I paint? And with what color? Let's see here. All right, put a little bit of that in there. And then this is definitely, I saw the Oxgall mix in with the water there, so definitely contaminating the water with the Oxgall. But okay, I'm gonna take Schmincke's Tundra Pink and I'm gonna mix some with the Oxgall because I love this color a lot. I like the granulation of this color and I want to see what it does with the Oxgall. So let's mix some of this together. All right, I'm just gonna do some random shape here. I'm not gonna get too finicky about the flower. Just want to do nice giant petals so we can see what happens here. So again, for this purpose, I'm wanting to see how much this will granulate and separate, not necessarily talking about movement in this one as much, not the explosions that we were seeing before, but the separation is what I'm after, and it's already looking so cool. So we'll see how, as this dries, how it granulates and like how smooth it dries from some of these darker spots to the lighter. Okay, while that's doing its thing, which is gorgeous, I want to take a green. I want undersea green. Undersea green has become my favorite all-time green. Beautiful. And I'm going to mix a little bit more of the Oxgall into it. And what I want to do is do the water shape of the leaf first, and then we'll tap some of that color in. So I'm going to do a shape, and then I want to just tap the color and see it move. Let's get some darker pigment. Okay, I'm gonna watch and see how that will, if that'll fill in and blend there. Let's get another leaf here. That's so pretty. Yeah, it does these nice, beautiful, smooth blends. All right. Okay, so I kind of want to just let that dry and see where that lands. And let's check back in with this one over here. It is actually staying wet pretty long. But things I've noticed. One, the color does seem a lot less saturated when I'm using it. The granulation is intense. The piemontite, oh, that's beautiful. All right, so now I'm just using the Oxgall in the water. So I'm gonna go straight from water to just pigment, and I'm not gonna mix it into the paint. So this is the water with the Oxgall residue, I guess. What color? Let's actually go into another brand now. So I have lots of different granulating colors that I want to experiment with. It's almost Valentine's Day and I have a ton of pinks from this brand. So I'm gonna do a heart in water, and I'm hoping that using this water to get paint from my pan is not going to mess up the entire pan, but that is so pretty. Yeah, it definitely has a very nice smooth line coming out. This is one of my favorite colors from 31 Purple Fish, the one I'm using right now. But yeah, it doesn't have quite the punch right where I set the color down because it's spreading it across the surface more. So something to note for when you're using Oxgall, if that's the kind of look that you're going for or not. Let's try one more pink in here. Just see how they blend together. All right, I'm gonna take my green now that has Oxgall in it. See how this one will separate. Just doing some light washes here. Right, and let's see. I might actually overlap a heart. Let's get one of these 31 Purple Fish greens. Whoa, there was not water on that yet. Okay, we're gonna let that one granulate. Let's see, what other color do I want to try from here? So many gorgeous colors. Let's do a little heart up here. And this smooth transitions between those two. Okay. Almost done messing with this one, but let's do one more heart here. Oh yeah, that's some pretty color. That's beautiful. All right, look at that movement. That one moved. Yeah, mixing it in the paint is definitely moving more than mixing it in my water. Good to know. So another thing that Oxgall can be good for that I've read is using it with a hard-sized paper. Now, if you didn't see my 100% cotton watercolor paper video, I tried 21 different cotton papers, and I talked about sizing in papers. The sizing can be hard or soft, and I go in detail about what sizing is. But if you have a hard-sized paper, Oxgall is a good thing to help the paints move on a hard-sized paper, but also, I believe, can potentially affect the sizing of your paper if you're using too much of it. Let's see, what color do I want to do next? I want to do one more up here. Mix it in with that. Yeah, that makes such a big difference. Oh yeah. So definitely mixing it in with the paint using this particular Oxgall is the way to go. It makes it explode out a lot more. Okay, so I'm going to set this to the side and let this dry. Some of these colors, oh, they're so gorgeous. All right, let's look at the flower. Let's go back to this. That's beautiful. So I haven't used Tundra Pink a lot. I do know that it granulates a lot, but this is quite a bit. And then Undersea Green, I've used it quite a lot, and I haven't seen it granulate this much. So I do think it is helping push those pigments and settle into the grooves more. So if you're wanting to use it to help with your granulation, I think it might just work. All right, I'm just gonna tap this just because I wanted to finish off my flower. It's really pretty. I feel like there was one other experiment I wanted to do with this. Okay, so I'm gonna take my clean water here and let me get a clean brush too. I'm gonna cover the entire page. Again, this paper is 100% cotton. It is an inexpensive one, but it's one that I do like. I'll link it, whoops, in the description below. I want to show you the core versus a non-traveling paint. So let me take the purple from core. All right, we ready to watch this? Whoops. Oh no, didn't mean to do that. I just dripped paint. All right, so here we go. So we see this beautiful movement. Man, that's gorgeous. All right, so let me wash this off. Wow, see how much it's moving still? Again, this was clean water and a core paint. So I'm gonna take that in comparison with, let's actually use a 31 Purple Fish. I don't think she uses any kind of moving agents like that. So this one is a granulating color, but it shouldn't move quite like that. Let me scoot this up. All right, here we go. Yeah, this is a really, really good example. Okay. So you see how it does blend out a little bit, but since it doesn't have that Oxgall or synthetic Oxgall in case of core, it's not spreading across the page. So now I'm going to take that same purple from 31 Purple Fish and we're going to mix in a little Oxgall. Hopefully this will be our best kind of example of what this can do. Again, this is only my second time playing with it, so I am just experimenting and bringing you along for the ride. All right, so I got some purple. Such a beautiful purple. And you can see it's moved a little bit. I'm gonna just get one little swipe of Oxgall, mix it in with my purple, and we're gonna see if this makes it move some more. See how it's blending out? It's not traveling quite like that core paint, but it is blending out a little bit more. Let's see if we can get a good ratio here. That core paint is just quite impressive, isn't it? Yeah, that's just not working quite like I wanted it to. Not quite sure why. Okay, I just put like quite a bit of Oxgall in there. Let's see if it does anything else. I wonder if the Oxgall has to be in the water. Like, I mean, no. That's not how I used it before. Interesting. Okay. I want to try one more because I want to figure this out. Because that is impressive, and I want to see if we can get that by using Oxgall mixed with other paints. I'm going to wet the paper, again with the clean water. Let me see if I can actually get the paper to stick to the glass so it's not warping up. Okay. Okay, so we're going to take our Oxgall. Get the Oxgall water here. Okay, and let's pick a different color. Whoops, I just splattered some of that Oxgall on the paper. Whoops. I am a mess and a half. Okay, let's take a different color. Let's get a deep color. Not sure what color this is, but... Oh, wow. This is Indigo Earth. Okay, that's really, really deep. Okay. All right, so this has Oxgall and the paint and mostly clean water on here. Let's see. Oh, I can see a little bit of spreading there. I'm having a difficult time getting a thick amount of pigment. There, it's moving. I think getting the ratios right is going to be about kind of experimenting. It is moving though. Look at that. Okay. Let's add whatever this color is. Okay, so I'm going to come on this side, but see how it is moving? Okay, I didn't add any more Oxgall, but there was some in there, so hopefully... Okay, now what I'm going to do is take, the paper's started drying, so I'm going to take some water. Make sure it's wet. And we're going to see if this will travel any. It seems like it works better with some paints and pigments than others. But again, maybe I needed to add more Oxgall to this because I added more paint, so... Let's see. There it moves. There it's moving. That's really cool. It did need a touch more Oxgall. Water to the edge there. That's pretty. Yeah. So it definitely helps in some beautiful blends if you wanted to do a gradient background. But if you wanted to do a nice smooth gradient background, I could see how Oxgall would really help in this instance. I want to take some on my brush and splatter and just see if those splatters blend out really smooth. Just kind of curious. This is a really fun addition to your watercolor. Oh my gosh, look at that. It did end up blending out nice and smooth though. Whoo! The core one, whoops, I'm setting it on top of that, but the paper is still quite wet. So it is keeping it wet pretty long. Anyways, the core one has more like, streaky lines coming out of it, and this one's a little bit more soft, so that's cool. All right, let's take a look at the hearts. Kind of going back and forth a lot, but look at the granulation here. That's intense. This one is beautiful. This is really fun. So I'm very curious if you've used Oxgall, let us know in the comments your experience with it. But also, if you are wanting to try Oxgall, let me know what you're wanting to use it for, because I could see it having several different uses, and having a blast playing with it. I feel like I want to do one more. What color do I want to blend smoothly into another color? I feel like I should use a non-granulating one to see how smooth we can get a transition. So I'm going to pull back my Daniel Smith paints, and let's do like a yellow to pink. So say we were doing like a sunset kind of sky. Let's see if we can get a nice smooth gradient. So first I'm going to, this water is very purple, so hopefully it won't show up too much. All right, we're gonna wet the surface with the clean water, maybe a tiny bit of cross-contamination, but all right. Now we're gonna get the Oxgall. So that helps you, that's the amount. And then I'm gonna take my other brush to get my color out, because they're half pans, so it's a little bit smaller. Okay, and I'm gonna mix that up. I'm gonna start with the yellow. It's making a lot of bubbles. It's interesting. And then I'm gonna get a pink. A little bit more Oxgall. Okay, oops. And mix that up, and then we're gonna start down at this end. Oh, look at that, look at it moving, look at it moving. Yee! That's so cool. And we're just gonna kind of blend that together and see how that does. Ignore, I splattered. That's me, my bad. I could smooth this out, but I don't wanna do anything else. See, I'm just gonna mess it up if I touch it some more. So that is really, really cool. So if you have problems with gradients, okay, I lied. I can't not fuss. I'm adding a little bit more pigment to the top. I'm hoping, since there's Oxgall on it already. Beautiful. That's really, really cool. So, all right, I don't want to waste too much of your time, but I did want to just kind of play around with the Oxgall just with you, and see what it can do and see what we could possibly use it for in the future. But let me move some of this out so you can kind of see where we ended up with some of these. Yep, let us know in the comments down below your thoughts on Oxgall. I think it is fun. I know it's been around forever, but I've never played with it, so. Anyways, that's it for this video. If you did enjoy this, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already and you want to see our future videos, hit that subscribe button down below, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye. Ah. Oh no. Oh no. Like, this is bad. These are really busted up. Ah, man. You see the devastation. This one, pink one, is really bad. This is sad. This is sad only. Well, I'm gonna try to put this puzzle back together.